Hariom, let's start. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo, Maheshwara, Guru Sakshal, Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri, Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri, Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri, Gurave Namaha. सिंदूरारुण विग्रहां त्रिनयनां माणिक्यमौलि स्फुरत्तारानायकशेखरां स्मितमुखीमाबीनवक्षोरुहां पाणिभ्यामणिपूर्णरत्नजगं रत्तोत्पलं बिभ्रतीं सौम्यां रत्नगणस्थरक्तचरणां ध्यायेत् परामम्बिकां ध्यायेत् पद्मासनस्थां विकसितवदनां पद्मपत्राय दाक्षीं हेमवां पीतवस्त्रां करकलितलसत्नेमपद्मां वराङ्गीं सर्वालङ्कारयुक्तां सततमवयदां भक्तनम्रां भवानीं श्रीविद्यां शान्तमूर्तिं सकलसुरनुदां सर्वसम्पत्प्रदात्रीं सकुङ्कुमविलेपनामलिकचुम्बिकस्तूरिकां समन्दजितेक्षणां ससर्जावभाषाङ्कुशाम् अशेषजनमोहिनीमरुणमाल्यभूषोज्ज्वलां जवाकुसुममासुरां जपविदौ स्मरेदम्बिकाम् अरुणां करुणातरङ्गिताक्षीं धृतपाशाङ्कुशपुष्पबाणजावाम् अणिमादिविरावृतां मयूकैः अहमित्येव विभावये महेशीम्। ॐ पराशक्ति नमः। ॐ पराशक्ति नमः। ॐ पराशक्ति नमः। Today we'll go from 216, we'll start from 216, from the 216th name of Lalitha Tripura Sundari Devi up till 230, till the 230th name of Devi. So let us start. Om Mahasatvaye Namaha. Om Mahashaktiye Namaha. Om Maharatye Namaha. Om Mahabhogaye Namaha. Om Maheshwaryaye Namaha. Om Mahaviryaye Namaha. Om Mahabalaye Namaha. Om Mahabuddhye Namaha. Om Mahasiddhye Namaha. Om Mahayogishwareshwarye Namaha. Om Mahatantraye Namaha. Om Mahamantraye Namaha. Om Mahayantraye Namaha. Om Mahasanaye Namaha. Om Mahayagakramaradhyaye Namaha. So we are starting with the we already started off with the Maha names, all the Maha names. I think this started from 208 with Maheshwari or Maheshwaryai Namaha. From there we started Mahadevyai Namaha, Mahalakshmi, Mridapriyai Namaha, Maharupayai Namaha, Mahapujyai Namaha, Mahapatakanashinyai Namaha, Mahamayayai Namaha. So we're going on to further description of Devi's strengths, Devi's qualities. Mahasatvayai Namaha. She who possesses great sattva. What is sattva? Sattva is supreme essence. Sattva means supreme essence. There are several meanings of sattva. Sattva means power. It also means chaitanya or existence, intelligence. You see a person's face and then they say that you can see chaitanyam in his face. So you describe a person's glow by talking of the chaitanyam in his or her face. So that chaitanyam is the presence of divinity, the existence, intelligence, sattvic quality. These are all the different meanings of sattva. Yeah. So all these are applicable to Devi. These are all the meanings of the word sattva. And who is Devi? She is Maha Sattva. So she is the greatest version of all these divine or divinity, qualities of divinity that the Devi can possess, that the Devi actually possesses. 217. Mahashaktihi. Om Mahashakti. You remember earlier there was another name of Sakta. It is not Sakta, this is Shakti. Yeah, different. There's a difference. So, in this, she who has great power, Mahashaktiyai Namaha. She who has great power, that is what this refers to, this name refers to, which is Mahashaktiyai Namaha. So, if you look at if the brightness of if you look at fire has got brightness, and the brightness of fire, the heat emanating from the fire spreads in all directions. So the minute you start moving away from the fire, the heat reduces and the brightness also reduces. So the experience of Devi's power also reduces when you go away from Devi. When you go away from Devi, the experience of Devi's power reduces. So even then, even if we are close to Devi, for us to experience the power and the glory of Devi, we need the Purva Janma Prarabdha, proper karma. You should have proper karma. Only then you will be able to experience the glory of Devi. Now, we are all gathered here together to discuss about Devi. That in itself is an indication of the fact that we are all, there is some nimittam for us to come together to sing the glory of or listen to the glory of Devi. Now there is a verse from Bhagavad Gita which translates into this: only one in thousands strives for perfection, and even among those successful strivers, only one perchance knows me in essence. This is what the verse is. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatadi siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam kaschin mam veti tatvataha. So this is the verse from the Bhagavad Gita, and what this means is that only one in thousands strives for perfection, and even from these 1,000 people, only one can have the fortune to know me. And that is what Lord Krishna says. Same applies to Devi also. So this is the meaning of what is said in the Bhagavad Gita has a similar context in this particular case as well. So Mahashakti is the many-sided power. So Devi needs power in order to nurture and protect the universe. So this multifaceted power that Devi possesses is something is a power that only Devi possesses. Yeah, and Shakti means not just the strength; it means the ability, the army, the weapons. Devi has all of this in very great measure. Mahashakti also refers to Kundalini Shakti, which drives each and every person. Mahashakti also refers to this aspect of existence. The next one, Maharatihi. Om Maha. What is the actual Maharatyai Namaha? Om Maharatyai Namaha or Maharatihi. That is the name of Devi. Now, Maharati, she who is boundless delight. Ratihi means, several meanings of Ratihi are there, which is Rati, which is she's a source of great happiness. She's a supreme. There is also another meaning of this, which refers to the supreme attachment that Devi has for Lord Shiva. So it talks of conjugal bliss, the supreme attachment that Devi has for Lord Shiva, and it also refers to the supreme attachment that Devi has for her devotees. So it is not just for Lord Shiva, she has a lot of attachment, extreme attachment for her devotees as well. Now, one aspect which we might think of is that people living in the normal materialistic world, people who are attached to their spouses, who are attached or linked to other people, we are all living life of sensory delights, life of the sense organs. Now, this life of a sense or life attached to these sensory delights, this is probably what we call as Nimisha Sugam, and which is sweet, it is wonderful, but it is lower than the life of an insect. They say that life is lower than the life of an insect. And you look at the flip side, somebody who is having a detached life, somebody who is a sage, who is a sannyasi. The question is, where is he finding joy? Where is the sannyasi finding joy when compared to that of a married person or a person who lives a life full of these sensory pleasures? So the thing is, the truth behind this is that the sage or a person who's a yogi or a jnani falls into the blossom of unbroken bliss and feeds on the nectar there. So these people, these sages, they are feeding on the nectar which they get when they tune in to the transmission tower, which is constantly emitting. They are constantly in touch with the grace, with divine grace coming in from Devi. So that is the reason why they know and realize that the joy obtained from sensory pleasures is nothing, and this is far superior to the joy obtained in sensory pleasures, and therefore that is why these people adopt a path of giving up everything and going down the path of searching for the truth. So that is what Devi talks about. Devi is the source of that particular bliss. So if there is an indescribable bliss in spiritual attainment, why would somebody actually give up all these worldly delights, worldly bliss, and then go after a path of tapas? Why would somebody do it? So worldly delight is ephemeral, while spiritual delight is eternal. So the worldly delights are short-lived, very short-lived, but spiritual delight is eternal. Once you start experiencing spiritual delight, you will never want to give up that spiritual delight. The same thing which I told you about in terms of when somebody gets into a state of self-hypnosis. You get into a state of self-hypnosis and you start looking inward more and more and more. You sit in a meditative state and you start focusing on the internal aspects. You start looking into you. That is when you start realizing that is far more pleasurable world than a situation where you open your eyes and start looking outwards. That's why they say that always close your eyes, start looking inwards. When you close your eyes are your windows to the external world. Once you close your eyes to the external world, that's when you start looking inwards. And once you start looking inwards, that's when you realize that is a far more pleasurable experience as opposed to keeping your eyes open and looking outward. So she is Maharatihi. The next name of Devi is Mahabhoga. Mahabhogayai Namaha. Now, Bhoga has several meanings again. Bhoga means wealth and riches. Bhoga means again sensory pleasures. She is the bestower. This refers to Devi as being a bestower of one's dharmic desires. The bestower of one's dharmic desires, that is Devi. There is the concept of this dharmic desires also refers to a situation where Devi talks of obtaining pleasure without attachment, obtaining pleasure in a state of detachment. So you don't be a part of the act, you are still in the act, but you are not a part of the act. So that is the state of pleasure without attachment. So she is also referred to as Bhoga Moksha Pradayini. Bhoga Moksha Pradayini. So she is not just Mahabhogaye, she is one who is immense wealth, and those who take refuge in Devi obtain all this worldly wealth automatically. But she is also Bhoga Moksha Pradayini. She gives Bhoga and she gives Moksha also. She gives Bhoga and she gives Moksha also. She is a Pradayini. She gives all these aspects. And what is this ultimately? Ultimately, this is the unending bliss of a liberated soul. The unending bliss of a liberated soul. That is what this is the ultimate state of Bhoga. Mahabhogayai Namaha. She who has immense wealth. That's what this means. Maheshwaryayai Namaha. Om Maheshwaryayai Namaha. Or Maha Ishwarya. Maheshwarya. Maheshwarya. She who has supreme sovereignty. Now, Devi is the seat of you have the 6 Aishwaryas. What are these Aishwaryas? Aishwaryas are the godly qualities. Lordliness, valor. Valor is Virya, fame, Kirti, auspiciousness, Sri, wisdom, Jnana, and dispassion, Vairagya. So she is the seat of all these Vairagyas. There are 8 superhuman abilities. These are the siddhis. These are the siddhis that if you go to places like Tiruvannamalai in close to Chennai, if you are lucky, you might be able to see a siddha. If you are lucky, you might be able to see a siddha who will not be standing in one place or sitting in one place or meditating. You will suddenly see them flying. So these people are there in existence in Tiruvannamalai. We had the fortune to go on this Chardham Yatra, and in Badrinath, across the gorge, we were told that there is somebody who has been alive for centuries together. So my father-in-law told me about such people being in existence, for people who are in existence for several centuries. So he said, look for them in Badrinath. So we went to Badrinath, and I asked people in the village. It used to be called as the last village of India. It is the village on the Chinese border. But then after Modi ji came, he didn't call it as a last village. He said this is the first village of India. So he changed it from the last village to the first village. And I asked people in that village, do you know whether there are siddhas here, people with extreme siddhi, do they live here? So one of those people said that across the gorge in that mountain, you will be probably able to see such people. So then I asked, how do you go? He said that you have to go and cross the gorge and get across to the other side. So when I went down and I looked down, the gorge was not a small gorge. It was probably, the gorge in itself was a good few kilometers down. And there was a bridge in the distance, and we had to cross that bridge and then climb all the way up to the mountain. That would have probably taken at least 3/4 of a day. And I dropped the idea of getting to see that particular aspect. But then there are such people who are there. So these siddhis, there are 8 superhuman abilities that are called as siddhis, which we have also covered. The siddhis we have covered earlier. If you remember Anima, Garima, if you remember the names, these we have covered before. Yeah. So these are also considered as part of the Aishwaryas. Devi is complete in all these qualities, and therefore she is called as Maheshwarya. She is completely above all these things and totally the person who possesses all these great qualities, and therefore she is called as Maheshwarya. 221. Mahaviryayai Namaha. She who is supreme in valor, Virya, supreme in valor. So you know that she's killed several asuras. Bandasura was also obviously the most famous of the asuras, but several asuras have been killed by Devi, and her valor and strength are beyond measure. So Virya means might, glory and strength as well. So these are the several meanings of Virya. So she is completely one of the person, she's a person who possesses all these strengths in superhuman effort, superhuman levels. 222. Mahabalayai Namaha. She who is supreme in might. So we spoke about Virya. Virya is valor, and this one is might. She who is supreme in might. Now this word Bala has several meanings. This means might, it means smell, it means taste, it means form, it means soul, and it also refers, Bala also refers to the crow, the bird crow. So there is a reference to a crow in a crow called Busunda. Busunda. There's a crow which is this crow apparently was a devotee of Shiva in Ayodhya, and this crow, this person apparently ignored his guru because of his arrogance. And this guru was a person who was a Vishnu Bhakta. The guru forgave him, but then Shiva's servant cursed him for disrespecting the guru. Now there is a sage called a sage Lomasha, and this sage intervened and modified the curse, saying that after 1,000 subhuman births he would be reborn as a Brahman. But ultimately he chose to remain as a crow. He chose to continue his life in the form of a crow with a high spiritual form of consciousness. Now, who is this person? This person is considered to be as an immortal witness. Why immortal witness? They say that this person transcends time and space and is supposed to have witnessed the Ramayana 11 times and the Mahabharata 16 times. So that is the nature of this crow. He is an immortal witness, and he is also a great devotee of Rama. Great devotee of Rama, supreme devotee of Lord Rama, and always sings praises of Lord Rama, witnessing every time that Rama assumes a human form. Now, this Bushundi this crow is also famous for narrating the story of Ramayana to Garuda, the Vahana of Lord Vishnu, according to Ramacharitra-manas. So this is another aspect of this particular crow. So they say the Yoga Vasishta says that this crow with his 20 brothers worshipped Devi for many years, and he got moksha while they were in their physical body. They were liberated while they were in their physical body. You know the other person whom you've heard of. Who is that? Poondanam. Poondanam, who wrote the Jnanapana, and he was also a Sanskrit scholar. But Poondanam was a person who got liberated with his body. So when he wrote the Jnanapana, and Narayaniyam was written by Bhattadripad, and these two were placed at the Guruvayur temple, and when the because Bhattadri made fun of Poondanam's Malayalam. Bhattadri made fun of Poondanam's Malayalam because there were phrases there which basically referred to something called as abhakti. There was a phrase there which referred to the devotion of Lord, And because of the way the phrases were made, it referred to that bhakti as abhakti. So when they closed the doors of Guruvayur, and when the doors were open in the morning, they found that Pundanam's Jnanapana was on top, whereas Narayaniyam was below. So the astrologers came and did the Deva Prashnam to find out what is the reason for that. And what came out was that Lord of Guruvayurappan came and Guruvayurappan appeared and said that I am more in love with Pundanam's abhakti than Bhattadri's bhakti. That's what came out from that discussion. So Pundanam was a great devotee of the Lord of Guruvayur, and they say that when it was time for him for his death, for his Swargaronam, Narayana came with his chariot. Narayana came with his chariot, and he called for his wife. He asked his wife to join him on his journey to Vaikunta. His wife, as usual, did not believe him, thought that he is joking, and wife did not come. Instead, the maid servant joined Pundanam in the divine chariot. And there is that area. If you go to Pundanam's illam, the place where he lived, there is an area which is demarcated, which is where the chariot of Narayana came to take Pundanam and the maid to. I think you probably remember this. Sudhaji and Subhika. You remember the visit we went. Yeah, Vasudha was also there probably. Komalji as well. We went to visit this place. So it's a great place. It is still there. You can, when you are going to Kerala, this is in Malappuram district. Please do visit this place. This is Pundanam's residence. So he was the other person who was given liberation with his body. He was the other person who was given liberation with it. That was the context in which I mentioned about this. So the other person was this person called Bhusunda or Bhushundi. All right. The next one, Maha Buddhihi or Maha Buddhyai Namaha. So she who is supreme in intelligence. So they say that as far as Devi Mahatmya is concerned, they talk of salutations to Devi, who exists in all beings in the form of intelligence. Devi is referred to as a person with intelligence. Devi is a person who triggers your intelligence. She bestows great intelligence, and if that intelligence in turn is fixed on Devi, then the person starts realizing everything. The realization dawns on the individual, be it from whatever sphere or aspect of life that person needs to go forward. So intelligence is the basis of all our achievements. So they say that life is a state where you are inside a room with so many locked doors. So many locked doors. And God has given us a bunch of keys. God has given us a bunch of keys. It is up to us. It is up to us to find out which key fits into which lock. And that is down to our intelligence. That is down to our intelligence. And with that intelligence, we will be able to figure out which key fits into which lock, and therefore we will be able to come out from that room or do whatever is necessary from a perspective. When the intelligence is dead, everything is gone. You can forget everything, because intelligence is the basis of our survival on this planet. If we need all things being equal, only if you are intelligent or display or demonstrate our intelligence, we will be able to go ahead. Survival of the fittest, science, that is also there in our Shastras. Yeah, the absence of it, not just in us, but the absence of intelligence in others, that is also very dangerous. The absence of intelligence in others, that is also very dangerous. Now, we will take a recent example related to politics. What happened in Tamil Nadu last time the elections were there. The Tamil Nadu people behaved very intelligently. The DMK people bought their votes. DMK people paid money to all these people saying you vote for DMK. I think they paid 3,000 or 5,000 rupees per vote. They paid. What did these people do? They took the money and they voted for somebody else. And that vote which went to somebody else was intelligent because people realized the corruption that was happening in that DMK government, which was the reason why the DMK government fell. So people behaved with intelligence. If that intelligence had not been there, if they voted on the basis of the conscience, in this particular case conscience, because you have taken the money, you have a moral conscience as well to vote for them, isn't it? Instead, if they had gone with their conscience, they would have voted again another corrupt government. Version 2, that would have happened. Fortunately, that did not happen. So there is this, that is why the Gayatri Mantra, if you look at the Gayatri Mantra, the last bit of the Gayatri Mantra is Diyo Yona Prachodayat. Diyo Yona Prachodayat, which means kindly awaken our intelligence. That is what the last bit of the Gayatri Mantra also states. Loss of intelligence brings complete ruin. Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita as well. 224. Maha Siddhi. She who is endowed with the highest attainments. We spoke of the 8 siddhis. What are these siddhis? These are the powers to become as minute as an atom at will, which is anima. To grow as large as the universe, which is called as mahima. To become as light as a cotton fiber, lagima. To become as heavy as a mountain, garima. To lord over everything, ishitva. To win over and control everything, vashitva. To effortlessly reach places that are even beyond imagination, prapti. And to manifest wherever and whenever needed. It's called as prakashya. These are the Ashta Siddhis or the 8 Siddhis. Now, if you're going to Devi, Devi possesses the miraculous Siddhis. She's the boss of all these Siddhis. And what is the biggest Siddhi that Devi possesses? Biggest Siddhi is that Devi has created this unimaginably complex universe and she is guarding that universe. That is the greatest Siddhi that Devi possesses, and whom are we working and propitiating? We are looking to propitiate Devi. So that is the most beautiful aspect of this particular name, Maha Siddhyai Namaha. So she also confers Siddhis on her devotees. So if you start praying to her and constantly meditate on the form of Lalitha Tripura Sundari Devi, the chances are that over a period of time, you will also develop the 6th sense. Before going into a meeting, you will realize that this meeting is going to go positive or this meeting is going to go negative. What we call as the gut feel. The gut feel will come in, and without even reaching there, you will know that this is not going to work. Or this is going to work. We're going to go, we're going to get the order, we're going to come back. We're going to go, we're going to attend the interview, we're going to come back. We're going to go, we're going to write an exam, we're going to get 100% marks. Everything we will know even before even sitting there. But that does not mean that we do not do our effort. We're going to get 100% marks, so I'm not going to write the exam. Right? You have to go there, you have to prepare, you have to write the exam, and then only then you will get the fruit of that. So effort has to be there from our side, and the effort in congruence with faith will give divine grace. Maha Yogeshwareshwaryai Namaha. She who is the object of worship even by the greatest of yogis. Yogis are not normal people. Yogis are not normal people. They see themselves as Ishvara. Yogis see themselves as Ishvara. The scriptures say that the knower of the Brahman is Brahman. The person who realizes Brahman is Brahman. So even to such people, even to such yogis, Devi is the goddess. Devi is right at the top. She is the most knowledgeable person, and she is the person who is guiding even these yogis. 226. Maha Tantrayai Namaha. She who is worshipped by the great Tantras such as Kularnava and Jnanarnava. There are several Tantras. There are 64 Tantras in all. These Tantras were originally brought together by Lord Shiva. Now, there are several aspects on these Tantras. These Tantras were, there were several siddhis that came out of these Tantras. These Tantras led people to develop several siddhis. Some of these siddhis are absolutely useless. Some of these siddhis are absolutely useless. Some of these siddhis are dangerous as well. Because some of these siddhis talk of, one of these siddhis talk of cutting a tongue of a child. One of these siddhis, to get this tantras, to achieve these tantras, one of the tantras involves cutting the tongue of children, giving bali of children. So there are several aspects which we cannot even talk about. So therefore, I am not covering this aspect of all these tantras. There is a list of all the 64 tantras which are there. But there is one small story, which is a story of a learned person, a realized soul called as Chattambi Swami, again in Kerala, Chattambi Swami. So they're saying that he was bathing in a river at a place called Kodanad with his disciples. So he went in the middle of the river and sat in the middle of the river in Padmasana. When he sat in the middle of the river in Padmasana, they thought that there is a rock and he is sitting on the rock. So the disciples started approaching him. He told them, don't come here. So they asked him later why he did not allow them to come close. He said that he was checking to see whether he had forgotten the siddhi of Jalastambana. That is a siddhi of the immobilizing the water. That is a siddhi. So he was practicing that Jalastambana by sitting in Padmasana in the middle of a very deep river. Such people have walked this planet. And Chattambi Swamigal is not very far off. Huh? How many? Maybe early 1900s or just before that. Chattambi Swamigal is very, very contemporary. So such people have walked this planet. Great people have walked this planet. So there are several tantras, like I said. There is a tantra called as Maha Sammohana. This is a tantra or the siddhi of putting people to sleep. What is the need for such a tantra? What is the need of such a tantra? For putting people to sleep. There is no meaning to it. Now, how do you achieve this? This is achieved by cutting this child's tongue. I spoke about that. So there are several such aspects of tantra, and there is one tantra called as Guhya Tantra and Tantra Beda. These are supposed to be practiced through the killing of many living beings. So it's again contrary to the scriptures. Yeah. So so the total of about 64 tantras are there. And who is Devi? Devi is the person who is worshipped by all these tantras. All the great siddhas. So that is who Maha Tripura Sundari Devi is. She is well beyond all these tantras. Maha Mantrayai Namaha. She who is the greatest mantra. So what are mantras? Mantras are used to invoke deities. Now, they are supposed to have appeared in front of the great sages. So they didn't, it is not somebody's Sanskrit creation. They appeared in front of the great sages, and they appeared. How do they appear? They appeared in the form of deities. Which is the greatest of these mantras? The greatest of these mantras is the Sri Vidya mantra. So this is Sri Vidya mantra, which is in the form of Devi. Yeah. The next one, Maha Yantrayai Namaha. So she is worshipped in the form of the greatest of the great yantras. Which is the greatest yantra? This is the Sri Chakra, which is the yantra of the Sri Vidya. And in Tantra Shastra, chakras, letters, inscriptions are all known as yantras, which are figures of special power. Saundarya Lahari has got 100 verses, and in these 100 verses, there are yantras associated with them, pointing in the various commentaries. So therefore, these yantras are there, and Devi is the highest yantra amongst all of these people. Lalitha Tripura Sundari Devi is referred to as Maha Yantrayai Namaha. 229, Mahasanayai Namaha. What is Mahasana? Mahasana is Maha Asana. So that is the seat. She who is seated on the great seats. That is the name, that is the literal meaning of Mahasanayai Namaha. There are 36 tattvas. We referred to the 36 tattvas in an earlier tattvas or principles. We have talked about it in an earlier name of Devi, starting from the earth, going all the way up to Lord Shiva, and all these are considered to be as her seats. But the seat which is closest to Lalitha Tripura Sundari Devi, which is that seat? That seat which is closest to Lalitha Tripura Sundari Devi is the seat of the heart of her devotees. The heart of her devotees, that is the place which is the closest as far as Lalitha Tripura Sundari Devi is concerned. And the Gita says that the Lord dwells in the hearts of all beings, O Arjuna. The God dwells in the heart. The Lord dwells in the heart of all beings. But for the Lord to dwell in the heart, the first thing that we need to do is to make our heart, our physical body pure. Our physical body has to be purified first. Now that is why they say that, when in order for us, when we are doing the Ashtanga Yoga, when we are practicing Ashtanga Yoga, our ultimate aim of Ashtanga Yoga, which is the final step, is when we get to meet our Creator. I mean, I can't talk about this from our Sanatana Dharma perspective. We talk about it in a very secular perspective when we go through our class. But the fact is, yoga is 100% rooted in Sanatana Dharma. 100% rooted, 200% rooted in Sanatana Dharma. So therefore, what we are talking about is that in order for us to achieve this final state of Samadhi, when we get to see our Creator, which is Vishnu, Shiva, whoever we have as our Ishtadevata and whom we regard as our Creator, we will know when we finally achieve that state. But for that, the first step is Yama. Second step is Niyama. Third is then Yoga. We are jumping straight to Yoga without doing Yama Niyama. And then we are doing the Pranayama and then jumping again straight into meditation. And once we do all these things, our hope is that because our body is cleansed, body is physically cleansed. Yes, how is it physically cleansed? We've done the yoga, we've got our blood moving, all these things are happening. But are we completely physically cleansed? Because if Yama Niyama is not there, physical cleanliness is not necessarily going to happen. So only in this cleansed body will the Lord come and rest. So therefore, if this Mahasana is to happen, we should make sure that our body is not just physically cleansed from the yoga asanas that we do, but we should get our Yama Niyamas right as well. Yama Niyamas right as well. Only then the body becomes a temple for the Lord to come and rest. The last one, Mahayaga Kramaradhya. Mahayaga Kramaradhyayai Namaha. She who is worshipped by the ritual of Mahayaga. Mahayagas. What are these Mahayagas? So Mahayaga is a worship which is meant for pleasing Devi. And how do you do it? You do it by elaborate preparations, follow separate rules. So in fact, when you're doing the Sri Chakra worship also, if you remember, there are ways when you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to make the altar in a specific way with a specific number of bricks. There are several ways in which you are supposed to follow. Similarly, a Mahayaga is a worship meant to please Devi. And what is it? It is a worship of 64 yoginis who are parts of such deities such as Brahmi. They are parts of deities which are parts of deities such as Brahmi, and Mahayaga is a sacrifice performed by Shiva yoginis. Shiva yoginis. Mahayaga is a process in which the worshipper sacrifices his vasanas. So we have several vasanas inside us. When we do the yaga, when we do all this small ahutis and all the yagas that we are doing, what do? We one by one we put several things into the fire. One by one we say we say the mantras and put all these things into the fire. When we put it into the fire, what this thing particularly refers to is that what we are putting is our vasanas. There is one bhajan of sung at the ashram. Ammekki matram urukkiya peetadil. What is that first stanza? So in that there is this very, I'm reminded of that, because in that thing they say that you're giving up your vasanas and putting those vasanas into the fire. So the Mahayaga is one in which the worshipper or the seeker sacrifices his vasanas one by one in the fire of wisdom, and the seeker becomes one with what he seeks. You are emptying yourself. When you put into the vasa, you're taking from inside and you're putting it into the fire. When you do that, you empty yourselves. So there is this concept of potential energy. What is potential energy? It flows from a higher point to a lower point, right? So that is what potential energy is. So when if that potential energy has to happen, that means we are the lower point. We have to have an empty space. Only if we have the empty space inside us, only then grace can come. From where? From the divine. If the grace has to come from the divine, we should be at a lower potential and we should be empty. We should empty ourselves. Only when we empty ourselves will we be able to accept grace that flows from the divine. So the seeker becomes one with what he is seeking, and thus reaches the ultimate bliss of unity with the Supreme. So this is what Mahayaga Kramaradhya means. So with this we cover up till 230. We will be completing 240 and 250 by the end of this week for sure. And on Saturday we will do the chanting up till where we have reached. I'll try and send the recordings for up till what we have done, so that everybody can practice the pronunciations. Please do spend as much time as you can and not do like what generally when music class happens, 1 hour before the music class, people take out their musical instruments or take out their book and start practicing music. So this is what this refers to. For us to be able to even sit and discuss these things related to Devi, for us to be able to even sit and discuss these things related to Devi, there is a Purva Janma Punya. There is a Purva Janma Punya which we have all been ordained. Devi has been kind to bring all of us together here so that all of us can sit and discuss the different names of Devi. So I think we are all very lucky to come together for this task of discovering the 1,000 names of Lalitha Tripura Sundari Devi. So let us continue on this path and try and achieve the ultimate goal of finishing the 1,000 names of Lalitha Tripura Sundari Devi. Offer these words at the lotus feet of Lalitha Tripura Sundari Devi. Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Lokah Samastah Sugino Bhavantu. Lokah Samastah Sugino Bhavantu. Lokah Samastah Sugino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Karacharana Kridam va Kayajam Karmajam va Shravananayanajam va Manasam va Paradam Vidam Avihidam va Sarvamedakshamasva. Jaya Jaya Karunabde Shri Mahadeva Shambho. Jaya Jaya Karunabde Shri Mahadeva Shambho. Jaya Jaya Karunabde Shri Mahadeva Shambho. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.